Well, thank you for being willing to learn Skype for me, Jordan. So,
Of course.
Skype is such a weird thing, but I'm so glad we're able to do this from like across the country.
I know. That's cool.
It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're dealing with Chiari malformation, is that right?
Yeah. Chiari malformation.
See, I always say it wrong.
Believe me, people that I know all the time, they say it wrong. I mean, it's really hard to say, and people just cannot get it right. I couldn't get it right the first couple months.
Oh, it's like that CH. I'm always feeling like it should have that ch sound and it doesn't.
Right.
But as confusing as this to say, it's pretty intense to live with. So what are, and people have like varying symptoms of it. What are the things you're dealing with?
My biggest symptom right now is the migraines are probably a 10 out of 10. I get about 5 to 6 a week. So that is the biggest thing that I'm dealing with right now. Also, intense back and neck pain. Also, my shoulder blade. It's just my right one. It's not my left. It's only my right. Is really bad. So those are the most intense. And also, I deal with memory loss, short-term memory loss.
So that's a lot to unpack. I'm going to
It
start
is.
with, because I know what this is, because it also can be an offshoot of Ehlers-Danlos, but can you explain what this is actually happening in your body? Because I think a lot of people who don't know what this is are going to be like, oh my God, that can't happen. That shouldn't happen in a
Right.
human body. So why don't you explain?
Right. So what Chiari is the cerebellum is lowered into the spinal canal. So my CSF flow gets blocked to my brain. So that's how we found it. I blacked out on the softball field due to my CSF flow being blocked to my brain.
So that's your
So
spinal fluid, right? That your
yes, the
CFS.
spinal fluid. Sorry. Yes.
No worries. I mean, we all
Um,
end up speaking in acronyms because we're so used to like going through it like a million times with doctors. But
exactly. We're just so used to it.
so you were, oh, we're gonna have to go back to like softball too. But what you're telling me is that your brain was basically like falling down onto your spinal column.
Yes, I don't know how far it goes, but it's lowered into your neck. And if I'll go into softball really quick, how I discovered it, I was running for a bunt that I have fielded many times, and I just blacked out. I hyperextended my neck, and I completely blacked out.
I was like so terrified for you, and I'm also a parent of a teenager, so I'm just thinking
Mhm.
like how terrifying this must have been for your family as well. Like when your healthy 16-year-old suddenly is on the ground.
Honestly, I think they just thought I fell because with me being the athlete that I was, I would get hurt a lot. So I've broken so many bones. I've had ankle surgery before. And I think my teammates also think that I just completely fell. So I kind of saw them when I got back up. They were standing up on the bleachers, just looking over to kind of make sure I was okay. But then it turned into something different where I wasn't okay after a couple innings, and then they got really scared.
So how were you presenting then at that time? Like you blacked out and then you got up and then were you just woozy or
When I got up,
not just, I'm sorry, it's a horrible word I keep putting in there. And just is an awful word. Feeling any of this sounds
yeah,
horrible.
when I got up, I was on the ground for about 3 to 5 seconds. Um, so when I got up, I had a horrible migraine, actually the worst I've ever had. Horrible migraine, instant neck pain. I didn't have back pain, but the weird part was I could not remember all of my teammates. I kind of had no clue who they were. And that was the scariest part. And I think I walked right back to my position. I played third base. I played it throughout my whole high school career. I walked back to my position. This was the first inning, the first play of the game. And I continued to play for 4 more innings because when you ask me if I'm fine, I'm going to tell you I'm fine, even if I'm really hurting.
That I'm sorry I'm smiling, but I was a ballerina, which is a same thing. It's like an athlete will never
Hmm.
like it's a very weird headspace you get into when you're an athlete. You're not going to leave the performance, you're not going to leave the field. It's
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it was a district game too. So you win districts, you go to states. And my freshman year, we were one game away from states. you play like 3 to 4 games in districts, then regionals, and then so we lost in regionals. My sophomore year, we were 2 games away. So, I felt a lot of pressure on me to perform. And if I said to the trainer, who kept asking me every inning, "Are you okay?" and kept examining me, if I told her I'm fine or I'm not fine, that she's going to pull me out. And then someone else is going to have to go in and fill my spot.
I think it's really a bad choice on the on adults side or trainer side of asking an athlete whether they are ready or able to perform. Of course they're going to say yes. They will lie through their teeth to get back up on stage or field or whatever their arena is for where they're performing or playing. I mean, that's just, of course we're going to say yes. I mean, I danced on stress fractures for 2 years on like stress fractures in my legs from hip to foot. I mean, you just don't. I mean, that's all, folks. Wow, so sorry.
Yeah.
I had a massive knee and hip dislocation last night, so I am
Oh,
on
wow.
every pill I have. So please forgive me
Yeah.
as my speech is muddled and slow, but this is just how I'm going to be today.
I
Um,
totally understand.
it's oh god, the side effects are just cruel. Like I used to
Mhm.
be smart. I don't know
Mhm.
what happened. Actually, I know exactly
Yeah.
what happened. Um, so for you, I mean, like when you're talking about being on a team, that's a lot of your social life. That's a lot of your identity. That's a huge thing for someone who's a teenager. Were you taken off the team, or were you able to still keep playing even after your diagnosis?
I had to stop. We lost that game, so I think we lost like 4-3 when they pulled me out. Like I said, the fourth inning, and that was actually my last game to ever compete in. And honestly, I don't even think I competed because it happened in the first play of the first game, the first inning. So I, but I can't remember the game before that. So I always say that was my last time putting my uniform on. And I never thought that I would ever get to that point in my high school career. I thought it'd be my last game in college, after my 4 years of playing.
I mean, what you're describing sounds so much like a Twilight Zone episode, and
Hmm.
the that level of confusion of not knowing the people that are like the closest to you or around you all the time. That's something that like people just can't necessarily imagine this deep dive down the rabbit hole of sick person.
Hmm.
So how are you able to get a diagnosis? As you're really young to get that diagnosis, how are
I
you
was.
able to get that? Because I like when I was going through all of this stuff, it was years and years and years and decades ago, but it was very much a pat on the head. You are a teenager, you're obviously mentally unwell, young lady, and go get therapy, go to a psych hospital, but there's obviously nothing physically wrong with you. How are
Yeah.
you able to navigate a system like that? Or is it still like that? Because I'm sorry, this is like 20 years ago. I was that age and doing and dealing with that. Is it still so tied up in that sort of assumption of mental illness or
It's not mental illness at all.
oh,
It's
I'm sorry.
a
Let me rephrase. I meant that there's an assumption that because I was a teenager and that sick without like a bone
oh
sticking out, that I was mentally ill. I did, and so like there's all the doctors are like, there's obviously something mentally wrong with you because you're hurting so badly. And I wonder if that's still something that doctors just go to as an assumption, or if they actually are catching up and deciding that just because you're a teenager doesn't mean you're not in pain.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. I've had doctors who just had no clue about Chiari, and that seems that anybody who's diagnosed with Chiari, they can agree that these doctors, unless they specialize, they have no clue about Chiari malformation. I never had a doctor say to me, "Oh, this might be mental illness," because I had a bunch of MRIs, a bunch of CAT scans, and it showed in those scans what I had, and I had the symptoms reflecting the diagnosis and the scans.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, if you can get in for the scans, it makes all the world of difference.
Yeah.
So how did this go with your family and friends? How were they able to support you, to hold you up, keep you going through all of this?
Oh, yeah, they definitely were. I mean, I had a huge support group because when I first got diagnosed, I was still 17. I got diagnosed in September of 2015, and I actually turned 18 a week after the diagnosis. So I was having the surgery December 2015. So that's a 3 month difference from the diagnosis to the surgery. So everything was very fast for me. After my diagnosis, I think I had another appointment, and my doctor was like, "Get ready, kid, you're having brain surgery." So,
Wow, that's a great bedside manner.
oh yeah, well, I absolutely love him. We have a very good relationship. He's been a fantastic doctor to me, and he specializes in Chiari, so it wasn't like a guessing game. And oh, I don't know what you have, I can't help you. He was able to do the surgery, and the surgery seemed to be a success with the surgery part, but I'm still to this day battling horrible symptoms, migraines, memory loss. I can't concentrate. The pain is just brutal. My back, my neck. So, but back to the friends and the family, I had a huge support group when I was going through this. And, I know they didn't understand what it was because I still didn't. Um, but they were just by my side the whole time through doctor's appointments, checking in on me, even with the surgery. And I to this day I still know that they had no clue really what was going on because I didn't.
That's a really fair point.
Yeah,
So, what is your limitations now? Are you able to drive? Are you able to?
yeah, I can drive. I can do everything that I think I can do. I cannot play softball anymore. Um, so it's just there's certain things that are limited. When I was like I said, an athlete, and I was always in the gym. Right now, me going to the gym is really difficult because either I have a horrible migraine, neck and back pain, or I just when I'm at the gym, I can only do 15 minutes of, let's say, cardio, and I can't lift anything more than 5 to 10 pounds. So it's really hard to gain that muscle back that I lost.
Oh, I hear you on that so much. I used to love weightlifting, and the
Hmm.
last few times, not under advisement of any doctor, I
Yeah.
decided to try the gym, and it was the most pitiful, like one row and a whole arm came out. And it was like, okay, this is
Yeah.
obviously that body that did ballet and weightlifting and martial arts, that body's
Hmm.
gone now.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I see myself like how I was when I was 15, 16, 17. I had a lot of muscle, and now I don't know where it went.
Oh, I really, I super feel for you because like that used to be my stress relief was going into the
Mhm.
gym, and I felt like Wonder Woman when I was able to do like major lifting. I felt
Yeah.
so strong and powerful, and I don't know about how you're processing all of this, but there are days I feel so out of control with my body and
Yeah.
so out of control with my life that I really miss that level of control and power of going into a gym and just doing weightlifting or
I
anything
agree.
that really
Yeah.
like, and those endorphins, I miss those. There's very few feel good things I get to do anymore, and those were nice
Hmm.
little happy endorphins that I used to get.
Yeah. Well, and to add on to that, I mean, I use softball as my escape. When you put your uniform on, or your practice uniform, everything else just disappears. School, relationships, anything that's going on at home. Because my mom had breast cancer when I was 16. That's when she got diagnosed. So, and I say all the time, if I did not have softball, I don't know how I could have gotten through that, because it was really difficult for me, because I was now at that age where I understood what was going on and what could possibly happen.
You're so good at explaining how your life was going. It's like when you're talking about like you put on the uniform and then all of a sudden you get to be a different person or a
Yeah.
person who these things aren't affecting at that moment. It's almost like this cue for your brain to go, okay, bento box everything else, and we're just going to play
Hmm.
softball right now.
Hmm.
So with
That's, yeah.
and then with your mom, that sounds like you already had an idea of how to do caregiving and how your family or you were clear on how to take care of someone who is sick.
Yeah, and I also say that I'm really grateful that this happened when I was 16 with my mom, because once she went into remission, that's I blacked out a month later. So my
Oh
health
God.
failed. Yeah, so it's been nonstop for us. And now my uncle, just got diagnosed with stage 3 to 4 colon cancer, but I think he is now cancer free. So it's
Your
been,
family needs a break. That's
we
that's
do.
unfair. So for I'm sorry, I'm losing track of my words and my days today.
That's fine.
Oh, it's not fine. It's incredibly frustrating.
Believe me, I know like what you're talking about with that. I mean, I have days where I don't even know what day it is, and I don't know what I have planned for that day. And I'm still in school, so school is really um, affected by my health. Remembering, I had a teacher say to me, "Oh, we have a project due on Monday." I didn't even know we had a project
Oh
because
God.
I forgot that she said it. I mean, if I don't write something down, I will not remember it.
I could not survive without my little phone.
Hmm.
It is my brain. It's basically my downloaded. These are your appointments. Like I just missed two separate interviews with someone because my phone wiped my entire calendar. So it was
Really?
like, oh God, I'm gonna have to do a lot of I'm sorries. This is going to be the
Yeah.
mea culpa month. It wasn't on my calendar, so I don't remember it. Are you in college right now, or are you still finishing off your high school?
I'm in college. I graduated my senior year was when all this happened. So I had the surgery, like I said, December, and I graduated, I think, in May. I finished school. I
Oh
got
my God, I don't know you, but I'm so proud of you. Like that is insanity. Like you were dealing with your mom's cancer through one of your years, and then
yeah.
this whole new health issue and diagnosis, and you still managed to finish all your classes and graduate. I am super proud of you.
Thank you. And
That's amazing.
I go back to softball because I think that built me into the person I am today and molded me into the person I am today. When I have my mind set for something, no matter what happens, I get it done.
Yeah, there's the thing about like the athletes that are pit bulls. Like if
Yeah.
that's on your radar of what you want, it's just sort of this like grab it and keep it in your mouth until it's there. Like
Exactly. That's basically what it is. I mean, our goal as a family, our schedules revolved around my softball schedule. I started playing when I was 4, and I
wow.
started travel ball at age 8. So that's where we started the competing, where every weekend we were never home because we're traveling. Every weekday, I had 2 to 3 practices per week. So it was just all the time softball, and I was finally achieving the goal that we had set as a family to become a college athlete. I actually started touring schools a week before the blackout happened, so it kind of all happened at once in a way. And we were so happy seeing my parents so happy on one of the tours because they knew I was achieving this lifelong dream that we have worked so hard for. That was just an amazing experience. And I'm so happy that I was able to do that a week or two before all this happened.
So how did you guys process this massive change then that you'd been working towards something and it wasn't going to look like what you or your family were assuming it was going to look like?
Well, when my doctor diagnosed me, the first question I asked him was, will I ever be able to play softball again? And he kind of, made the face like, I don't think so.
Mm.
So like I said, that everything happened so quickly. We, I don't think we ever sat down and talked about how this is affecting all of us. I know it affected them because they put a lot of money out there for me to play. Travel is not cheap. And, I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for all of the memories we have playing and being at the tournaments together. But we never, sat down and said, hey, how is this affecting you? It was just trying to get me fixed and better. So I really don't know what they're thinking about that. And I think they have an idea of what I'm thinking, but they just, I don't think anybody has an idea of how hard it is to lose something you love so much so quickly. It happened in a blink of an eye.
I feel so viscerally because I remember that doctor's appointment sitting there with the doctor and saying, okay, I don't care about the rest of this, but will I dance? Like, will I still be able
Right.
to do ballet? How long do I have to do ballet? Well, and then that look on their face of, yeah, you're done now. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get to do this again, ever again. And it was just like the most heart wrenching moment. And it was so much of. It took me a lot longer than I think. It sounds like you were able to find new dreams fast and quickly and decide on college. And I was not that smart or clever to get through as fast.
Yeah.
So, what are you studying now? What's your new goal that you have?
Well, I'm going for my degree. I will be getting my AA degree in May. I'm doing business and entrepreneurship, and then I haven't decided if I'm just going to stay where I am or go to a different school that's close. So that is my goal for school, just to get done because it's really difficult for me. But I have the company that I'm running out of Palm Beach, Florida.
So, I want to get to your company, but I'm really curious because I know that there's a lot of people who have chronic illness with memory issues or brain fog. How, aside from writing things down, are you managing running a business and going to school?
Like you said, your phone is your brain.
Thank
It's
God for
mine too.
alarms.
Oh yeah. Um, I would say the phone. My teachers are actually very supportive, all of them that I have this semester. More than I've had teachers that really just don't care. They're like, I don't care that you're dealing with this, that you have emergency doctor's appointments. You miss a test, you're getting a zero for that. So this semester, I have teachers that are absolutely incredible when it comes to the doctor's appointments and also my company meetings. But for me, keeping track of everything, it goes down to writing everything down. I write my day out so I can view it, and then I'll do check marks if I completed it. But also the phone for like reminders of like, let's say for this interview, I had reminders set because I had a couple meetings this morning. So I wanted to make sure that this got done.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite apps that work well for you for keeping your life together?
I just use the calendar. That's yeah, is it I think it's just the calendar.
Because you got to grow up with all of this, all of these crutches. Like I, when I was 16, we just got the internet. Like there was that horrible dial-up modem. We certainly did not have phones in our pockets. Like all
Mhm.
of this stuff that I use to keep my life together. Now I have all of my favorite apps, and if you're listening, please head on over to invisiblenotbroken.com and you can go through our show notes. And I'm going to list like some of the apps that I use that I semi keep my life together.
Yeah.
And send me any of your favorites too. But I didn't have any of these digital crutches. Everything was just had to be written down and hope that I remembered where I put the piece of paper I wrote stuff on.
Right.
Which is still the big joke in the household, is trying to find where I put things.
Right, exactly. I mean, I can't find my phone a lot of the time just because I forget where I put it. My phone and my keys seem to be the biggest issue I have with losing things. I just can never find them.
Seriously, my life hacks really revolve around my daughter, my son, my husband, and my mother. They are always the ones who can find my keys, my
Yeah.
phone, my wallet, everything that goes missing. They know where it is. It's
Yeah, I mean that's how my mom is. Thank God for her because she'll say, "Hey, your phone's over here." I'll walk in. Where are my keys? And because if I don't put them, I've noticed if I don't put something in the same spot,
yes.
then that's how I will lose it. So, like school, an example, my classes when I first started, the first week were really rough for me because I could not remember where the class was.
Oh
And
my gosh, yes.
yeah, and then I actually, I know this isn't good, but the other day I went a different route to my class and I'm like, where is my class? So I know that's bad, but that's how it is now. And
No,
I
I hear
never
you so
had
much
that.
on that. That's something that I think that a lot of people don't think about with college or high school when you're chronically ill, is trying to remember where's your
Hmm.
locker, where's your class, where'd you park your car, where's like
The car is a big one.
oh my gosh, yes. I like my favorite thing is I have this thing on my phone that will tell me where my car is. I don't drive anymore, but like
Really?
yeah, it will actually like ping and tell you where your car was last. So you can just put it
Oh,
into Google Maps and find your car. It is life
that's
saving.
really convenient.
Right?
Wow.
Especially when you're talking about like those parts parking lots for colleges, which are about the same size as the campus.
Yeah. And there's never a spot, and you have to park in the last one
So you
all the
don't
way
have a
down.
disability placard.
A what?
Disability placard. You don't have one yet?
I actually do, yeah.
Yay! Isn't that the best thing ever?
It is. And I actually only use it at school because you're either rushing to your class or these kids just don't know how to park or drive. So
Very
that
fair.
yeah, so I only use it at school. I never use it anywhere else because I rather walk and if I'm having a really bad day, that might be different, but I rarely use it at shops, and I rather give it to someone who is in a wheelchair or.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like, if I'm actually having one of my rare, oh my gosh, I can walk, I can move days, which are few and far between, I do not use the placard unless I already have some clues that POTS will be coming in and I might be fainting before the car or,
Right.
But again, I don't drive much. So it's kind of a non-issue at this point. It's really funny talking to you as you're so much younger. And I feel like because of all my illnesses, I've like gone back to being 16 because it's like I can't drive most of the time. My mom has to drive me everywhere. It's like, wow, I'm in my 40s and my mother is driving me to all of my appointments. This is not what I was expecting for 40.
Right. I know. But you don't expect this at any age. I don't think we expected my mom to get cancer when she was so young. When I think she was like 40 something. And I know it happens at a younger age, but I never expected this at 17. I honestly thought I'd have a career ending injury, not my health failed. That's what I thought.
That is the call of all athletes. Is like, this will end when I have an injury from this. Like, certainly not from like something else in the body mutiny. Going into mutiny. Wow.
Yeah, an example is I was 13 and I stepped on my brother's ankle. We were playing basketball. I don't know why, but we were playing basketball and I stepped on his ankle and my ankle snapped and completely rolled over. And that was a Thursday and I stayed home from school Friday. I had a tournament Saturday, Sunday. Like I said, I was like 13, 14. I played 7 games that day.
That's if anyone who's listening has not been in like athletics or something competitive, like this is what you do. Like it's not surprising to me. Like I was in a tournament for martial arts and I completely snapped my knee out where my tibia went in front of my kneecap and I finished the entire tournament still. Like I was not going to leave that ring.
Yeah, that's it's what you do as an athlete. I've broken so many bones and I've had line drives to my fingers and I've broken 2 fingers at the same time.
Ow.
So yeah, but you just keep playing. You don't want to miss one game because you never know if that's your last game. And I took softball for granted and I regret it because I always thought nothing will happen to me. I'm a great athlete. I'm going to go to college and play ball. I never thought that this would happen. And I took softball for granted and it really stinks.
But there is something wrong with, because I'm far past this. So like I get a very good look backwards and I feel like there's something really wrong with how there's this idea of we need to bootstrap it. We need to like put our lives and health on the line because it makes us tougher and better. And I certainly caused way more damage by continuing with my activities instead of like scaling it way back to something more manageable.
Right. Yeah. And like when I told you about my ankle, the doctor said, if you do not get this surgery, you will not be able to play again. So, I was calling him up and saying, let's schedule the surgery because I need to play. It was at the peak of my, my career. I was getting into high school. So if he says, if you don't get the surgery, you can't play, I'm getting that surgery done.
It's not even a question. Like, it's so funny. Like now that I'm like past, like I can do great things to my body. When they mentioned surgery, I have a lot more questions now than I did back then when they'd suggest surgery. Before I was like, will this help me keep going and dancing? Okay, then we just do it. Now it's like, all right, so what are the chances this goes wrong? What's the outcome? Like I have so many more questions now.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's, with the ankle surgery, it was like, just do it. Now with the brain surgery, it was like, what's gonna happen?
So for you, I wanted to step back just a minute because like I I didn't have a sick parent until recently. Like, did having your mom be sick help you with how to ask for help, or how to? Did she help you with like how to do being sick or how to move around?
Um, Seeing her battle the disease, it made me stronger because I was always like, I would take this away in a heartbeat. I wish I could. And, not being able to do something, that's kind of what the hardest part was. And to answer your question before, my mom always said to me, if I could take this away, I would. I think I overheard her talking to one of her friends, and she said that the hardest part is not being able to help her and have her get this relief. Um, and I remember she said to me before the surgery, if I could be on that surgery bed, I would in a heartbeat. But she can't. Nobody can. You're the one that has to deal with this and go through it. So having her go through cancer, I think at a young age, and me being 16, it really opened my eyes to health comes first, family comes first. And she has been a huge support. Both my parents have, but my mom, when a doctor says, I think you should go see so and so, she's over there Googling, researching. She's doing what a mom does. And it was just incredible how much my parents helped me through this, because I still am so in awe that this happened. I'm still dealing with it at such a young age.
And you are very young. I mean, like you are so impressive, and I know anyone who's listening does. It'd be hard to guess your age. You're incredibly eloquent, much better than I'm doing, by the way. And you have such a clear vision of what you need to and want to do, and that's incredibly impressive. While most people are still like, I mean, after I got sick, it was like complete emotional mental disaster trying to pick up pieces, and you very good at picking up pieces.
Thank you, and I'm 21, by the way.
Yes, which I was not nearly as clear or focused at 21.
Yeah, I mean, I think the illnesses cause that, and now the company is really, opening my eye to, I need to grow up. And when my mom had the cancer, that's kind of the turning point where I need to mature quicker than my friends did, my teammates, because they were just living life playing softball. Now I was, but I had to really focus on my family.
Yeah, there's something about facing incredibly big odds, big illnesses young that changes your perspective on like how much time you have to do things.
Hmm.
Like when there's a teenager who doesn't have chronic illness and no one in the family is looking at anything very intense, there's sort of like this idea of I have all the time in the world. And
Hmm.
then I mean, I was very sick and had to give up everything I was like working on at 16, and it was like, okay, so time is not necessarily all there. Like you really have to
Right.
pack it in.
Right, exactly. And excuse me, you never know what's going to happen the next day. So I always live my life to the fullest every single day. A big thing is always tell the people you love that you love them.
That's so huge. That is like one of the biggest things. It was something that I read way before I had my kids. It was something I just always made sure I tried to do like every single day. Is like hug and I love you. Like
Hmm.
that's so you don't know like
Yeah,
what can
it's
happen,
just
what
that
will
little
happen.
thing.
Yeah. So in your questionnaire, you had so much great stuff. So please head over to the show notes because I have all of this there, and also Jordan's company, which we will be talking about, which you had put in a part about treatments and what helped and what wasted time. So
Hmm.
I am very curious for your migraines, which if you don't have migraines and you think that you understand migraines because you've had a headache, I would like you to kill that myth right now that
Yeah.
migraines are not headaches. Please
Yep.
describe. Because like I've had them in the past, but only once or twice, and I can't imagine how you do this a few times a week and still manage to do school and business.
Well, I know this is probably going to sound bad, but this is how I manage it. I'm used to it by now. I'm
Yeah.
I'm 3 years in with this, and I'm used to it. When I hear people say, "Oh, I'm having the worst day. I have a headache," I'm looking at them like I'm on day 3 with a 10 out of 10 migraine.
It's like, oh, summer child. Let me explain.
Yeah. So, it just that drives me nuts when people say, "Oh, I have a migraine. I have a headache," and it's like I've been dealing with this for 3 years. It's not like this. It kind of feels like one migraine that just has never gone away.
That's brutality.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the part of chronic that I feel like people don't get if they don't have chronic, which is it's this isn't something that stops. There might be like some breaks in the oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm still dealing with this. There might be like an hour a day, a week, a month, but it's chronic. It will come back, and it's not something that
Exactly.
just stops. There's no stop point.
Yeah, and I think one of my other biggest symptoms is the pressure in the back of my head. And we actually went back to my doctor who did the surgery, and he's like, "You have scar tissue now growing in the back where we did the surgery, and we might need to do another surgery to, maybe get some of the migraines away because nobody knows where these migraines are coming from." So with him saying, "Oh, we might need to do another surgery," it's not an ankle or a knee surgery, it's brain surgery. So we were like, "No, we're pushing that off. We're going to try everything else to see if that helps it."
And did you find something that helps it?
Nope.
Yeah, I was
I'm
really curious, like what treatment plans, because I know that I have a few friends with Chiari, and the amount of things they've tried is it's
yeah,
dizzying and expensive.
it
Like,
is. It is. I've tried chiropractors, Nuka chiropractors, and that's where they
okay, no, I have a
focus.
quick question about that.
Go
Like,
ahead.
is that even recommended for someone to be like doing a cervical adjustment where it like looks like they're breaking your neck if you have
Yeah,
like a
I know what you're
brain
saying.
stem going on?
Um, the Nuka chiropractor, they don't crack anything.
Oh,
A
cool.
chiropractor does. So I went to a chiropractor for maybe a week, and then I saw what he was going to do. Someone with Chiari, you cannot grab their neck and crack it.
Yeah.
Um, so I'd tell him that, but we would just crack my back, and it's a 5 minute visit. And I'm like, this is getting me nowhere because once I leave, the back pain and the neck pain's back, and a migraine just started. So we did a laser treatment in the back of my head where the scar is. That didn't work. I'm doing massages now. That just helps me for the hour the massage is. Um, but nothing seems to be working right now, and it's driving my family and I crazy.
I like just I have budgets to worry about, so I'm just thinking the expense of it all. Like it's amazing, like how many things that we're in very different states with very different laws about
Oh yeah,
things, and
yeah.
where I'm at, it was just shocking, like how much I had to jump through hoops to prove I was a good chronic pain patient. Like I had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars in acupuncture, chiropractics, any sort of crazy other thing on the fringe. Not that any of that's crazy. If it's helping you, cheers, mazel tov, blessed be. Like I mean, like
Hmm.
whatever you do that's working for you, awesome. But none of it was really working for me, and I still had to spend thousands of dollars before the doctor's like, okay, fine, we'll give you your pain meds. Like it was
Hmm.
crazy.
Right. And, to add on to that, I did acupuncture and the guy decided to do everything at once. So I'm just terrified now of acupuncture. And I just tried a shot, Amovig. Have you heard of it?
I can tell you my name right now, but I'm not sure if I could actually come up with anything more extreme than that.
Don't worry, I understand. It's a shot that goes into your leg or I think your stomach, and it's going to block the nerve that causes a migraine. I did it for 3 months. It did not help at all. He was like my neurologist. He said to me, it helps. I think he said 90% of the people using it or 95. And I was one of those that it just did not work.
That sucks. That's horrible.
Yeah.
I had to
And the
have.
side effects were crazy to that. So I was just like, I can either up the dose to see if it actually works or just stop it because the side effects were so bad.
the side effects need to come with their own massive warning label. Like those should not be
Yeah.
put into small print. It's
Yeah. Well, he
amazing.
told me, he's like, there's no side effects.
Oh,
And
that's mean.
yeah. So,
That is just mean. I had that. I had a doctor who gave me a new pain medication because they're like in an insane like tailspin level of like we need to get rid of opioids. So we're going to
mhm,
try these like new very untested drugs and I was told it did not cause emotional disturbance issues. It totally did. It was very
yeah.
scary to experience it when you're told it's not something you need to watch out for.
Right, I know. And he told me that, and I come back after a month. I'm like, here's a list of side effects. And he's
In
like, yeah,
cases
and I
aren't on
don't
the
know.
bottle. And what were some of the side effects you were dealing with?
I actually had a hair loss. So I would comb my hair, and it's not the normal amount that, would go with the brush. It was like, I felt like it was half my head. Um, and the concentration got worse. I could not, if you asked me a question, I would completely forget it, and I couldn't even answer. Um, I see. I can't even
Yeah.
remember the rest of them.
Well, we're doing great with that side
Yeah,
effect here. I mean,
yeah,
which when you're
but
going to
and
school and running
also
a company,
my leg actually swelled up that we did the shot in. Oh, I
that is
remember. I couldn't.
insane.
My left leg, I couldn't move it at times, and I'm like, this is not right.
So your company, which I am loving, you have something about medical logs, which I went onto your company's website and it seems to be that that was very inspiring to your company.
Hmm.
And I'm just thinking from like a perspective of a pain patient and also like caregiver, those logs where you're actually writing things down and what we're talking about, we're experiencing side effects. That could be life saving if you're actually keeping track of when you took what all of the symptoms are, and you have this like year long log of
Yeah,
information because God knows, most of us who are like in chronic pain or chronic illness, our ability to remember what happened last week, what was the cause and effect, it's almost zero. Like I have such a hard time with like, when did that dislocate? It's like, well, that was like 5 days ago, and I've had
yeah.
10 dislocations since, so
Hmm.
I don't remember a sharp, stabby, dull. Like, so tell me
Right.
about like because this seems to be something that actually helped you when you're talking about like things that wasted time, things that didn't work. But you were saying that the thing that actually worked for you was keeping the medical logs.
Yeah, and it really can avoid medical mistakes. I mean, when I was going through the process for the past 3 years, I would track everything when I was creating the company and the logs. And it seemed to the doctors would actually pay more attention to me when I had my health laid out for the past 2 weeks of exactly how I've been feeling. If you just go into your appointment and say, hey, I don't remember what's been going on, you just paid however much that copay and for that visit. So now it turned into I have no clue how I've been feeling because I can't remember. And the doctor just looks at you, okay, just continue the pills you're on, or just see me back in 2 weeks.
Okay, so for those of you who have different medical coverage in other countries, when we say copay, what we mean is when we see
Mhm.
a doctor, we have to pay a certain amount. So, like, if you don't have insurance, you have to pay the full visit plus all
Yeah.
the medicine plus everything out of pocket. If you have insurance, you have to pay what's called a copay, which can either be if you have a deductible, which is what I have, is the whole amount of the visit until you reach like $3,000 for the year,
Yeah.
or you have like a $20 or to a percentage of that, which $20, some people are like, hey, that's no big deal. It depends on your income level, but even at a high income level, when you talk about $20 per visit and you are seeing
It
like
adds
four
up.
doctors a week,
Yeah.
it adds up a
Right.
lot fast, very quickly.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. And I mean, that's another thing with the book. It just really, when you have a 10 out of 10 migraine, you just write it down. It takes 2 seconds to write it down. So at the end of the day, you're able to look back and say, wait a minute. If you didn't write it down, let's say, wait a minute. How have I been feeling? I know the past hour has been a little better, or let's say a 10 out of 10. You can write it down right then and there. You don't have to go searching for anything. You don't have to search through your phone and go on notes or whatever you do. It's right there, and it's laid out how you need to write your symptoms down.
That sounds really super helpful. And if you're like a super digital person, it sounds like you could even like create a PDF of it to keep on your phone so that if you're at a doctor's office and you can't bring something with you, you could transfer it over also digitally.
Yeah, we have the app and the digital coming soon to enhance the book. But
Oh, excellent.
yeah. So I've noticed actually the past couple doctors I've been to, they say shut your phone off, turn it on silent, and please turn it off and just kind of put it away. So the reason we have the log is, let's say you're at a neurosurgeon and you only have a certain amount of time with them. Let's say 30 minutes. So with the phone, you got to sit there and go through it, and you're wasting time. With the log, you just flip back 2 pages and there's your whole 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks.
That's what I love about the idea of the log is that it's very easy to find the day and the week. That's always the big question I always get from doctors is like, after you tried this, what exactly happened after that? It's like, I no clue.
Exactly. If I did not have this log during my Amovig journey, I would be going crazy because I would see my doctor after every full month after the shot. And he got to a point where when I first started seeing him, he gave me a piece of paper and he's like, track your migraines. The next appointment, I had my log with me. His jaw dropped. And now when we do things like the Amovig, he just looks at me and he says, "You know what to do," because I have the log.
I don't think that this can be stressed enough because to get doctors to take you seriously is an incredibly difficult thing a lot of the time. At least in my personal experience and the experience of a lot of people I've talked to, it's really hard to get them to, like when you're saying my pain is 10 out of 10. A lot of times you get this look or this sure that's
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm.
yeah 10 out of 10, especially when you're at a pain clinic. So
Yeah.
like having a log and then because my symptoms are so visual, it's easy to see the dislocated bone. It's I keep a log of photos with it as well. And like my
Yeah.
mast cell activation, the only way I got that diagnosis was I took pictures of like every rash that was happening. Like where yeah, it was very if it could have happened on Halloween, that would have been great.
Yeah.
I would have made the best like costume just walking out with like all of the the weird rashes. But keeping these things documented is if you're going into an emergency room, a pain clinic,